Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. With me here today are Mayor Brandon Scott, Council President Nick Mosby, Morgan State University President David Wilson, Morgan Police Chief Lance Hatcher, FBI Special Agent, Acting Special Agent in Charge Jennifer Bacon, ATF Special Agent in Charge Joe Perseos, and Acting Deputy Commissioner Kevin Jones. The investigation into this tragic incident that occurred on October 3 is still ongoing. However, by working in collaboration with us, with our department, our law enforcement partners, and the community, we are now able to release video and still images of persons of interest connected to the case. I'm happy to announce there is a $9,000 reward for any information leading up to the arrest and charges for this incident. We urge anyone with information on the identity of the people depicted in this flyer to please call Metro Crime Stoppers, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. We've received more than a dozen tips that have assisted our detectives in this investigation. I want to thank each person who has assisted us in the investigation, to include our community members who have provided tips, the work of the Baltimore Police chaplains and faith-based community who have been out working diligently to get information, assistance from members of Morgan's alumni, and any others who have assisted us in the investigation. Due to ballistic evidence and assistance from our federal partners, I'm also now able to confirm that there were 2 shooters in the incident. We will continue to work with Morgan Police and school officials to keep the community safe, updated, and any further developments as they occur. Detectives continue to review a huge amount of footage, video footage, and speak to potential witnesses every single day. The BPD and Morgan State University Police are also working together to increase patrols throughout the campus and around the campus. As of this morning, 4 of the 5 victims have been released from the hospital. 1 victim remains hospitalized in stable condition. Again, I urge anyone with information that could help us identify the 2 individuals that are depicted to please call Metro Crime Stoppers, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. The entire Morgan community remains in our thoughts and prayers, and we will capture these individuals. Please stay safe, and now I will turn it over to Morgan State Police Chief Lance Hatcher.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank our local, state, and federal partners for their assistance in handling this matter. Also, I want to assure that the community knows that we held their safety the utmost importance. We've made significant enhancements to our security since this incident. Those would be we detailed an armed, uniformed Morgan State University police officer to Thurgood Marshall dorm where this incident happened. Additionally, we currently have 5 residential housing dorms, and we have currently at least 1 security officer in that residential space. We've since added a second security officer to the exterior of all of our on-campus housing facilities. Lastly, I would like to say that if you see something on campus, or if you've witnessed this incident or any fashion of it, we want you to come forward, notify Morgan State University Police Department or Baltimore Police Department, and if you see something, please say something. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to thank the City of Baltimore, Mayor Brandon Scott, to Police Commissioner Worley, to the FBI, to our own Chief of Police, Lance Hatcher, to everyone for the effort that has gone into identifying suspects who committed this heinous act of violence here at our national treasure on Tuesday night. Morgan State University is a university of high consequence in the city, the state, and the nation. And we have received an overflow, I should say, just outpouring of support from around the state, around the nation, and indeed around the world. On yesterday, during my cabinet meeting, we received a telephone call from Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, to express her support for this university and for us as we make our way through this period. I have also received similar calls from Governor Wes Moore, Senator Ben Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Steny Hoyer, and a personal call from also the U.S. Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, just to name a few. This morning, I personally spoke with all 4 of the Morgan students who were injured in this incident. All 4 of them, I can report, are in good physical condition. And yes, all 4 of them experienced tremendous trauma. They were excited to hear from their university president, and I pledged to them that this university would immediately provide one-on-one counseling to each of them. And as I stand here, that is underway. We have counselors now that are outreaching to those students. As I said, they're doing well physically and about as well as one can expect them to be after experiencing this trauma. We actually have here at Morgan a university that we describe as high touch and one that embraces at an even higher level high caring. And as such, we will do everything in our power to ensure that every step along the way, we never sway from that foundation. We realize that come Monday, the university will have to move forward and resume our operations fully. Though on the academic side, we're still taking into account our high care and our high touch foundation. And so the university will resume classes in the originally scheduled modality for the remainder of the semester. We do recognize that this may be a challenge for some of our students for a variety of reasons. And so to that end, we have reached out to all of our faculty and have asked them to provide flexibility in responding to the needs of our students next week. We realize that our students have missed 3 days of classes, and we are absolutely of the opinion that our faculty will understand that and will make sure that the students are going to make up in the way in which the students and the faculty will work out the missing of those classes. And finally, let me say this. Yes, we made a tough call on Wednesday of this week. It was to not only cancel classes for the rest of the week, but to cancel all of our homecoming activities. But I would want everyone who is listening to me today to know that one thing we did not cancel, we will not ever cancel, and that is the Morgan spirit. And so as we gather here today, understand that we do have Morgan alumni from all over the nation who today are out there in every corner of the universe, sporting proudly their Morgan and blue-orange colors to show that this institution is not going to be deterred from our mission. We are not going to lose track of who we are, because we are indeed Morgan Strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. This is truly a national treasure that on Tuesday was impacted by a national crisis. And that's the pervasive, the cowardly, the unproductive continual use of guns in our community. It's not indicative of this university and the thousands of students, the hardworking faculty, the police department, but it's more a symbolic reminder of what we face every single day in this country of these cowardly acts. I'm here to beg the students at Morgan, I'm here to beg the citizens of Baltimore to please step forward. Our federal, state, local, and campus partners have literally been working around the clock to ensure that the folks who committed this heinous act are brought to justice, to ensure that we can return the Morgan State family and community back to some sense of normalcy, and to ensure to say that the thousands upon thousands of folks that pour into creating this national treasure and keeping her going, that their work is not in vain. Collectively, we will continue to work. I would like to again thank the mayor. I would like to thank the police department, the Morgan State Police Department, and all the federal partners that have been involved to understand and know that this is of high priority and that we'll continue to work, but they cannot do it alone. It is you, the residents, the citizens, the students. If you just saw one little thing, please step forward. We can solve this crime. We will solve this crime. We will bring these folks to justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. It is obvious that this has been an incredibly tough week for the Morgan State community and the city of Baltimore as a whole. I want to reiterate that my heart is with each of the victims and every single person impacted by this tragedy who has lost out on such a large part of their school year, and for all of Baltimore who has been feeling and praying and supporting this university community. But I want to be very clear about something else, that we will not let the cowardly, reckless, dark action of a few overtake the bright light of black excellence that Morgan State University has been, is, and will continue to be for Baltimore and the world. We won't allow that to happen. I want to thank the continued work of the members of BPD, the Morgan State Police, all of our incredible federal partners who are sorting through every single piece of video, every single tip, every single interview with every witness, so that we will do what we ultimately will do: catch these perpetrators and hold them accountable. I also implore anyone that knows anything, even if this person is your brother or your son, these individuals that we're looking for, let us know. Because folks who will recklessly shoot into crowds, they don't care. The next time they might be shooting at you. We are going to continue to wrap our arms around the entire Morgan community, as we do every community who faces the impact of gun violence in our city. My Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement has been on campus the last couple of days working with the school and community members to provide their stabilization services that we provide throughout the city. I want to thank them for their work, and I want to reiterate that this is not normal. We cannot let it become normal, not here in Baltimore, in Maryland, or this country. But we have to, as I said the other night, and I'll say it again, address, as you heard from the president, this nationwide epidemic of gun violence as a national issue. Completely solving it is going to require national action. If we are going to eradicate this disease, we must attack it with the national attention and power that we did the COVID-19 pandemic that showed up very quickly, and we spared no expense to make that pandemic go away. This epidemic of gun violence has been happening for longer than the 39 years that I've been alive. We need that same kind of action now. We do need Congress to step up and ensure that the sanctity of American lives outweighs the sanctity of American guns. We are and will continue to do our part at the local level, already pulling 2,100 illegal guns off the street of Baltimore, holding those individuals who decide to pull a trigger, those who are trafficking and selling those weapons on our street accountable, continuing to implement a public health-based approach and form violence reduction strategies that we know works. That makes our city safer, but we still need the extra help to solve this epidemic of gun violence. We need more care, but more importantly, we need more national action. Support from members of Congress who have been on the sidelines while schools, churches, supermarkets, anything that you can imagine in this country are shot up and they refuse to do anything. I will continue to call on them to do their part as local and state leaders are doing around the country. This week, this is not just touching the Morgan State community. It's touching all of us, again, as we see another school community rattled and shaken by another senseless act of violence. Every single person, not just in Baltimore, not just in Maryland, but in this country, is being impacted by this disease, this cancer known as gun violence, and it's time that we address it as a country as a whole. Thank you very much.
So at this time, we'll take questions. I'm going to ask all of the reporters to come over this way. So we need to set up a line. I'm also going to say we're going to take one question and a follow-up per outlet. Please be sure to introduce yourself and your outlet. So we'll start with Alexa.
Hi, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News. This question is for the police commissioner or the university police commissioner in terms of the investigation. I know you had said previously the original target who was not shot in this shooting. What information have you gathered from him in terms of what led up to this dispute? I know you had said originally 3 guns, now we're looking for 2 shooters. So was he also armed?
When I said 3 guns, I knew there were 3 guns on the scene. We didn't know how many of those 3 fired. Through the help of ATF, our ballistic, we were able to identify that 2 of the weapons that we saw were actually fired. 1 was not. And part of the intended target is still part of the open investigation I really can't release yet.
Did the university police department or BPD have any prior intel or knowledge of any type of ongoing dispute in which this may have stemmed from?
Not that I'm aware of.
We are not aware of that, but the investigation is being handled by the Baltimore Police Department, so I don't want to go over any information that we should not release, so I'll rely on the commissioner to answer that question.
This is for law enforcement in general. This happened on Tuesday. It's now Friday. It's been 3 days since the shooting, and we're having a press conference about identifying 2 suspects but no arrests. So what about the perception that the information coming out is coming out too slowly, or the process to arrest somebody in a shooting like this is taking this long?
Well, we can't arrest somebody until we know who they are. And that's what we're asking the citizens for help with. If you can identify, if we could identify those people in the flyer through the mounds of video, then we would have made the arrest or already got the warrant. But we're asking for help to identify the suspects. As soon as the suspects are positively identified and we have enough probable cause to get a warrant, then the next phase will come in. But we haven't been able to do that yet. That's why we keep asking for help.
But with the suspects still out there, can you guarantee that people here on this campus, students, faculty, coming back on Monday can feel safe coming back here?
Well, it would be a bad statement for me to guarantee anything, but I can tell you that with our previous investments in safety measures on the university, to include lighting, to include upgrading and installing additional cameras, to include hiring more police officers and security officers, we will take additional steps and have taken additional steps to increase our police presence on campus, to place a armed Morgan State University police officer in the area where this happened, to increase security officers in the area of our residential housing, to work with our local partners, the Baltimore Police Department, to not only increase police presence on campus, but in the surrounding areas. So we're taking significant steps to address the fear that they may have coming back. So we're definitely willing to meet with the students, as Dr. Wilson said, provides psychological assistance as well. So we're going to work with our students, we're going to work with our faculty and staff to ensure that they feel comfortable and that they are safe.
This is for, Emily Hofstetter, WYPR News. This is for Morgan State officials. Have you received, or for administration, have you received reports of students that have already decided to withdraw from the university for the semester? Are they getting tuition reimbursements or anything like that?
Let me ask Dr. Wilson to step forward. we're concentrating on the investigation of this incident, and Morgan faculty, staff, and administration are concentrating on the other aspect.
When we made the decision to cancel classes on Wednesday and then extended it through Thursday and Friday, naturally, students and their parents convened on the campus, and many of them went home for a long weekend. And so we are in touch with the parents, we're in touch with the students. We are now planning a Zoom conversation with parents on tomorrow. But the answer is no, we have not received any official response from any students indicating that they are going to officially withdraw from the institution. And that's why we have put in place the kinds of outreach to students and their parents that we have, is to make sure that they are understanding what the university is doing to address additional security, to provide additional counseling and psychological services, and then to be in a position to respond to any question that they may have of the institution.
And then for law enforcement, have you received much or any intelligence from the community, things like that?
Excuse me, sir. Yes, we've received over a dozen tips from the community, from Metro Crime Stoppers. That's how we were able to get some of the video and some of the stills, and some of the information that we're getting is coming in every day from the community. We have to investigate it fully. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Ashley McDowell with WMAR 2 News. So you see there was 5 people that were shot. 4 of those are students. Can we have some description of the 5th person? Is it a faculty member, another person visiting the campus, the 5th person that was shot?
I believe it was a visitor from Baltimore County, from in the county, but 4 of them were students. The person who was shot was with the other 4 individuals that were gathering it, just enjoying the night.
And then this is the 3rd consecutive year that gun violence has broken out on campus during the annual festivity. What do you think can be done to prevent this in the future, for future festivities going on campus?
Well, that is very unfortunate. Also, I just want to say that this incident, I do not believe, was related to our homecoming activities. Unfortunately, it happened during homecoming week, in addition to happening in the vicinity of a homecoming event. Generally, Tuesdays are a very light night. We only have the coronation. We typically have no issues throughout the week. Our issues have come on game day, Saturday, when a multitude of people descend on campus. So primarily, we have increased our police presence. We've increased our relationships with our federal, state, and local departments. We've increased our technology use, as well as hire a national consulting firm to assist us in analyzing our preparation and determining what we can do to improve upon the safety during homecoming week.
Paul Gessler with WJZ. The suspects, or I guess the individuals in the actual flyer, there are 4 that don't have their faces blurred. What are you calling them? Are they persons of interest? Do you believe the 2 shooters are part of those 4 people?
That's what we're trying to figure out. But they all are person of interest. That's why they're on the flyer. We believe the shooters were among them, and they will continue to investigate until we find identify the shooters.
And how helpful have the victims in this case been? You received a dozen tips. The witnesses and victims, how helpful have they been in the investigation?
They've been extremely helpful. We've talked to each one of them, I believe, and they've given us as much information as they could, but they couldn't identify our shooters.
Barry Sims, WBAL-TV. Do you have any indication if any students were involved in this in terms of possibly carrying weapons, being part of the shooting or anything like that?
At this point, we can't release that information. Well, I'll tell you, at this point, we don't believe the students were involved. They were just enjoying the night.
Alex Mann with the Baltimore Sun. Mr. Commissioner, you said that the ballistics analysis was able to help you narrow it down to 2 shooters. Has the ballistics been able to help you all figure out what types of weapons were used in this incident, caliber or style of weapon?
Yes, that was part of the issue. Is the ballistics were all the same on the scene. That's why we had to figure out which gun, how many guns that had been discharged. But we can't tell you what type of ballistics. It's all part of the investigation. Yes.
All right, sir, so I have Alicia here. She's from the MSU Spokesman, the campus paper. She's a little nervous, so I'm going to ask her a question for you. What is being done to ensure that when an outsider comes to the university, they are properly vetted and are determined to not be dangerous?
We're doing several things, improving on some things that we have already established and established going forward. So primarily, the police department is getting to know our students, first of all. So we want to be able to distinguish between who is our students and who are not. We are discussing, as we have in the past, whether we're going to have the members of our community outwardly wear their bear card, which is our Morgan State University identity card. In addition to that, we're going to be looking at several covert and subvertive measures to determine who may be a visitor, who may be a threat. That goes from metal detectors, whether they're seen and not seen. That goes from having additional security booths placed on campus, as well as moving our Morgan wall completely around the campus to secure our open campus. Because we are an open campus, we are here to support not only our Morgan community, but the surrounding community. So we want them to have access to the campus. But it's a thin line, and we have to walk that line pretty well to support our community partners as well as our community members.
All right, and her follow-up question is, how will security at large events at Morgan look from now on following the shooting and national attention?
Can we take that question just one moment?
Yes, I just really want, if you will, to double down on the fact that unfortunately, going forward, Morgan State University will have to look at closing even more significantly ingress and egress opportunities to the campus. We are an open campus in an urban environment, and we now are making plans, as you heard from the chief, to basically now close that in a way where we can have opportunities to dispatch security to points where individuals are entering the campus, where they will have to show ID and show that they have a reason for being on the campus. And that is now being baked into our plan to implement in short order.